Really not much to report on the South Koreans and the North Koreans in terms of the openness of North Korea to disarm or to denuclearize, I guess, the Korean peninsula. But with that backdrop, speaking of somebody who got radioactive super quick, so yesterday on Katie Tur's program on MSNBC, which I think airs somewhere around like 2 p.m., maybe 1 p.m. I think it's the 1 o'clock hour. Sam Nunberg went on. Now, Nunberg's been around quite a bit. He was is a Roger Stone crony. In fact, he refers to Roger Stone as his surrogate father. And he has been on cable news quite a bit, getting a little bit more loosey-goosey with what he says. We actually played a clip of his the other day. And apparently he received a subpoena with a 3 o'clock deadline as of yesterday to deliver materials. And at some point over the weekend, he reacted to either what he had to hand over, the work involved in handing it over. Now, there is a search function in emails. I should tell you that right now. He had to hand over emails for certain people, but maybe he didn't know that. And it's also possible, quite frankly, based upon what happened later in the day, he had some type of episode and a problem with his medication. I'm not mocking that. I mean, that happens to people, and that's difficult. And maybe you don't necessarily have the ability to know you shouldn't go on television in that situation. And maybe you don't have people around you who have the ability to say, hey, you shouldn't go on television in that situation. But he did. Here he is calling in to Katie Tur's show. And this started basically an avalanche for the day. But here is that first exchange where Nunberg is basically saying, like, I don't need to answer to a federal subpoena for a grand jury. What's he going to do to me?
That's ridiculous. 24 hours or last week where you've decided not to do this.
When I got the subpoena, it was ridiculous to me. The subpoena is absolutely ridiculous. Why should I hand them over every email I've had with Steve Bannon or Roger Stone since November? And you know what? Since November of 2015? Give me a break.
Sam, what about those who might look at this and say you have something to hide or there's something that you don't want to reveal because now you're saying you're not going to cooperate? What if people think it looks suspicious?
Let them think what they want. Let them think what they want. You know what? I'm the first person to go out here and say I'm not cooperating because it's absolutely ridiculous what they want from me. Katie, should I spend 80 hours going over emails that I've had with Steve Bannon and Roger Stone?
If you're going to defy a grand jury subpoena, are you worried about being held in contempt of court?
Let's see what Mr. Mueller does.
Are you worried about getting arrested?
I think it would be funny if they arrested me.
If you're held in contempt,
I agree.
Wouldn't you have higher legal
really,
bills?
really funny if they wanted to arrest me because I don't want to spend 80 hours going over emails I had with Steve Bannon and Roger Stone.
Steve.
Now, the charges, I don't know, that might be like the third line of the charges. The first line would be failure to comply with a federal subpoena. And that's why they would arrest him. I mean, it happens. It happens.
That would be funny.
And apparently it'd be super funny.
What's really funny is that he sounds like my impression of you.
Yeah, it's true.
The other part is I can relate, though. I'd be like, can't you just have the NSA do it? It does sound like...
That is absolutely...
Well,
guys, you already have been illegally obtaining all of our information anyways, whether it's through the corporate surveillance state or the state apparatus. Just get what you already have.
He ultimately said, like, I'd rather just give him my password and let them go in and find it.
Ooh, Sam, judging by my sense of who you might be as a person, I don't think that's a good idea, buddy.
I mean...
There's going to be so many crimes that are uncovered through this process that have nothing to do with the original purview.
Look, there seems to be basically no other news that exists except for this like full day meltdown because he went. So that's like at 2:00 in the afternoon. So he went from that show to like Jake Tapper's show, right?
Yep,
and
Tapper. And then he also did one on like a local New York station.
Yes,
a name I don't.
Spectrum.
Yes, he went to Spectrum New York 1 News. And then, okay, so look, just if you're not in New York or you don't know the physicality of these things, he's calling to Katie Tur, who is on 49th and 6th Avenue. Then apparently he goes to 8th Avenue, 2 blocks over, and 60th Street to the CNN studios. Then he goes to the Spectrum News studios, which I believe might be in that same building because that is the Time Warner building. And then, and maybe he was on the phone, then he heads over to Ari Melber's by 6:00 in MSNBC. So he's back at 49th and 6th.
You send the car, I'll melt myself down in public.
And then he heads back to CNN for Aaron Burnett like an hour later. And I lose track of it at that point. But we should tell you a little bit of who Sam Nunberg is because people don't necessarily know. Just to give you, to catch you up. Origin story. Well, yeah, this is his origin story. Here is Sam Nunberg in his own words to how he came into the Trump orbit.
First time I met Donald Trump, I was 5 years old at WrestleMania 5.
Jam-packed here in Atlantic City for WrestleMania 5.
Donald Trump invited the young Sam Nunberg right into the heart of the action.
I'll give Hogan a job in Hollywood. He can drive my limo.
We were sitting right behind Trump, and he had us move to the first row at another section. And it was actually funny because I ended up getting on the video for WrestleMania with my father. We were doing like the bushwhacker.
Boy, they've got a style all their own, Jess. You know, Gorilla, I noticed you the other night walking through the casino looking like that. Hey, yeah.
Nunberg was with Trump when he tried the birther issue out for the first time.
Oh, the bushwhacker. Oh, God, I can't stop. I can't stop. So... oh, God. It's like every day, it just gets more and more insane.
Like, we're definitely Rome and we're collapsing, but was there, I keep asking this, like, were there specific moments inside Rome, like, definitely they can match us for greed, cruelty, empire, but just sheer stupidity? It was spectacle we match, but like, was there this level, like, was Romus Maximus like on a public square talking?
Think
like
of all
Sam
the viral
Nunberg?
moments in Rome that went unshared.
That's right.
Probably true.
That's right. It's just like a
lot
little
of
bit of talk
world
around
star.
Little talk
like,
around
they threw him in with the lies. He ain't even a Christian, dude. World star.
Little talk around the vomitorium, and it just doesn't go anywhere from there.